And while I agree with the sentiment of this motion, it is true that Australians are suffering under an Albanese government and things would get worse under an Albanese-Bandt government. The fact of the matter is this motion doesn't have any solutions, and it's typical of the Liberal Party to actually be throwing mud at the other side, saying, well, you know, we're bad but they're worse. I'm sorry, but it's about time the Liberal Party actually comes up with some solutions of their own. And yes, the $20,000 tax deduction for entertainment, if that's the best you've got, then heaven help us, because we know that 9 years under the coalition government, and I was there for a number of them, there was very little tax reform, very little genuine structural reform of the economy. And in fact, I know I've spoken to Angus Taylor many times, the current opposition shadow treasurer, about structural reform. And I spoke to him one day about the need for an infrastructure bank, and he said, well, that sounds like MMT to me. Well, I'm sorry, Shadow Treasurer, but the fact of the matter is MMT is when you expand the volume of credit without actually securing it against infrastructure or an asset. And what we are doing is proposing people first to actually build infrastructure by issuing new shares. We don't intend to use foreign debt. We're going to use domestic equity. And there's been a lot of talk today by the coalition about the dangers of a Labor-Greens government, and I totally agree with that. But you cannot trust the Liberal government to actually implement economic reform in this country. I know that because I was Secretary of the Backbench Finance Committee for 5 years, and despite repeated attempts at introducing new reform, we got diddly squat. So I know that the best coalition you should have is actually a coalition People First government, because People First, yours truly here, is the only one that actually understands the Tax Act, the only one that understands global finance markets, and it is the only one that has solutions to fix the economy.
Authorised G. Rennick People First Chermside.